Well, that could have gone better. Meet Mr. Once, my once-in-a-lifetime Ironman account. He's got big dreams of leveling his skills, defeating iconic bosses, and collecting all of RuneScape's best gear. However, for Mr. Once, those dreams are far easier said than done. This is the story of that journey. So, as you may have seen in the intro there, I finally hit 10,000 zombies killed, and it was quite the experience. I got PK'd like 40 or 50 times in the process. Why someone would want to PK a dude in 2 pieces of armor with a sword who is killing zombies in this dumb graveyard is beyond me. But they did. A lot. But finally it paid off. After over 100 hours of killing 11,893 zombies, I finally got the scroll. I was a free man again. At least for a short while. Now in the last episode, I talked about my plan for some bossing on this account. As you can see, next episode I'll be taking on Briafita, and I have some getting ready to do to make that happen. As I said in the last episode, I have 8 episodes of bossing coming up, and the 3 with question marks are going to be picked by you. So comment down below which boss you want me to take on, and I might just do it. Now to get ready for Briafita, I have some major progress to make. First and foremost, I need Mossy Keys so that I can fight her. Since I'll be going for the Giant Champion Scroll later in this video, I'll be getting Mossy Keys as a byproduct from that grind. Second, I'll be needing some better combat levels, which will also be coming from the Moss Giant grind. I should be getting some major increases in my combat skills and prayer by the time that I'm done. Thirdly, I'll be needing some supplies, such as food and potions to get through the fights. The former of which I took care of at Temperos already. And lastly, I'll be needing some gear upgrades. An Addy chestplate and a rune sword just won't cut it much longer. So, it's time to make some progress. And so I unlocked the biggest money saver in OSRS. Helped a MILF find her daughter and then stuffed her into a barrel to sneak her out of prison. Found the One Piece and became the Pirate King. Unlocked the most fire song and the best emote in the game, as well as some of the worst content in the game. Visited a village of idiots. Helped the Borthorpians begin their genocide. Beat up someone's dad while a bunch of people watched. And finally, joined an emo cult and cut my wrists and blacked my eyes so I can fall asleep tonight. After that bit of questing, it was time to do a bit of skilling. And I had 2 main skills in the docket for this episode. And well, one of them worked out pretty well, I would say. First up was thieving, and my goal was level 53. So, as you can see, I chose to do some content that not a lot of people really do, I feel like. For anyone who might not know what these are called the Sorceress Gardens, and they're a very nice alternative way to train your thieving, I feel like. A lot of other methods are very click-intensive or have to do with monotonous timing, but these gardens are a bit more relaxed and AFK. Unfortunately, I was stuck in these spring and autumn gardens, and have not quite made it to the summer gardens where things are even more AFK, but that's coming in the future for sure. And there's 53 thieving. Goal achieved. Luckily that only took a few hours. Next up was cooking. And well, as I said earlier, it didn't go to plan at all. You see, my goal for this video was to get 99 cooking by using all the supplies I had from Temp Daddy. Now I quadruple checked my banked experience, and I spent a ton of time planning things out to make sure I would burn as little food as possible in order to achieve the 99. I used the stove here in Hosidius for the decreased burn chance. I made sure to calc the levels from each fish to make sure things would go to plan. But one thing I messed up on was the amount of experience I already had. I started with around 300,000 cooking XP for this grind, and my calcs ended up being a whopping 2.7 million XP off of 99. I can only assume the mistake I made was adding an extra 0 to my 300k base experience, thus making it 3 mil, for an exact 2.7 mil difference. Long story short, I didn't cook all the fish. I really wanted to do the entire 99 grind in one go, so I cooked up what I was hoping was enough supplies for the Moss Giant grind coming up later in the episode. Now I'm getting to something very exciting for me personally. You may recognize the building behind me. It's time for Mr. Once to finally start Dragon Slayer. Now, since this quest is iconic and very nostalgic, I'm going to do a bit of it on camera and kind of take a stroll down memory lane. To start off with, I know for a fact that I started this quest as a kid on my first OSRS account. I also know for a fact that I never finished it. This place right here is of course Melzar's Maze, and the reason I know I started, but didn't finish Dragon Slayer, is because I have distinct memories of, well, training my combat in this location because I thought it was cool and exclusive. Looking back, it makes no sense, but I did it for a long time. Also, I never managed to solve the puzzle here. Man, I was a dumb kid. My second memory from Melzar's Maze is a bit more embarrassing, I'd say. Back in the day, I used to come home from school and log on to RuneScape. At the same time, I'd also log on to AIM, or AOL Instant Messenger. If you don't know what that is, you're clearly not as old as me. And one time specifically, I was messaging a girl I liked, and I wanted to tell her how I felt, but I couldn't do it. So I made a second AIM account and posed as someone else so I could tell her. She never did anything with the information after I told her, so it's safe to assume that she didn't feel the same. But all this took place while I was in Melzar's Maze. Man, what a time to be alive. Next up is the Dwarven Mine. As a kid, I spent a lot of time here because I always wanted to get into the mining guild, which I never achieved, by the way. I remember seeing this door every time I ran past here, and never once figured out how to get inside. It always ticked me off when I was a kid. And here I am getting the Antifire Shield. As a kid, I owned this shield, probably from starting this quest, but I never once fought a single dragon in RuneScape. Not a single time. I never had membership, and my one experience in the wildy was... it was a nightmare. And that's one of the few locations that a free-to-play player might see a dragon. So, yeah. I had the shield for no reason. And now it was time to watch one of the greatest cutscenes ever made, where a dude on a boat in the middle of the ocean decides to literally just cower and die to dragon fire instead of, jumping into the ocean. Yeah. But with that, it was finally time to take on Elvarg. Now again, I never did this fight as a kid, because, well, kids are just generally very inefficient at video games. Achieving this goal was something I wish I had done as a kid though, because I'd always wanted to get a rune plate body and equip it, but just could never figure out how to do it. Back then there was no wiki, there were no YouTube guides. It was a whole different world. Finally, with Elvarg defeated, I went to Edgewood to claim my prize and the first upgrade I wanted before fighting Briafita. It's kinda nice being an account where the rune plate body unlock has actual meaning. Feels good. With that, it was time to begin the Moss Giant grind that I had been talking about all episode. This is a grind I'm actually very excited for, and there are two main goals I hope to accomplish here. Now obviously, as I talked about earlier in the episode, I'm going to need the Mossy Keys for next episode. I don't have an exact number in mind, but 100 keys would be pretty awesome if I can get that much. Depends on RNG, and well, my RNG usually sucks. The other main goal is of course the Giant Champion Scroll. Now this one is not as important because there are plenty of other creatures that drop the scroll if I go super dry and move on eventually. Considering how dry I usually go for these scrolls though, it should be easy to collect a lot of Mossy Keys, in the process at least. Otherwise, the Moss Giant drops are really good overall. There are some really good seeds for farming, decent runes, steel bars, and of course big bones to help trade my prayer later on. This was actually a grind I wouldn't mind going dry on, which is good because I'm currently over the drop rate for this scroll as I'm recording this. But here are some clips showing the progression of my loot as I get my kills. I did most of the murdering in the Varrock sewers, which holds a lot of nostalgia for me since I spent tons of time training my combat here in my main 3 years ago. I did go to the Wildy a bit here and there, hoping for some good RNG on the keys, since the Wildy Giants have better drop rates on them, but in typical Mr. One's fashion, I have gone dry not only on this scroll, but also the keys a bit. And so, this is where I'm going to wrap things up for the episode. Next time, I have some massive things to accomplish. I need to upgrade my gear. A lot. Prayer will be getting a huge boost. And I'll finally start bossing. Now, if you liked the video, please drop a like, as it really helps me out. Don't forget to subscribe so that you don't miss any future videos. And finally, don't forget to comment down below which bosses you think I should kill in the upcoming episodes. Bye everyone.